He ain't no help with that. He be like, let her go.
With Dr. Harris, and you're with our co-host Aline Reed, right here on the Golden West Side. We want to welcome you to the Black Agenda Network, broadcasting right here off the campus of Free AME Ministry, right here. Playing our little intro song that I created when Dr. Kinde and Aline was doing Kwanzaa. They didn't know I was doing it, so if you ever come on my show, you know, I'll be doing stuff that you don't even know I'll be doing. And so we just thought it's kind of relaxing and Afrocentric. And you can see that everything here is Afrocentric here at the Black Agenda Network. We also have a special guest here today with us, a good brother who grew up here in West Fresno, Brother Robert Wilson, with us today, and we just kind of want to chime in with him today, kind of see what's on his mind. And our co-host, you know, there's only between 1 and 5 sisters that I know that's real revolutionary freedom fighters here in California. It's probably the nation, but since we're in California, I'm going to say California. Our co-host, Aline Reed. And so she has some real good stuff she wants to talk about tonight. I have some real good stuff I'm going to talk about tonight. And we also have our brother, Robert Wilson. So I'm going to turn it over to our co-host, Aline Reed. Again, thank you for tuning in today to the Black Agenda Network.
All right, thank you, Reverend Harris. Well, what I want to talk about is something that you all probably are tired of talking about by now, but I got to talk about it because Fame is hosting the Revolutionary MLK event on Sunday, January the 19th at 806 Collins, right here on the Golden West Side of Fresno, 93706. And one of the things that I'm going to be talking about is the election. And in doing my research to get ready for the 19th, I started thinking about everything, all my feelings and everything, and my anger and my disappointment. And in my research, I found out that Yale University is going to be offering a class on the relationship between black women and white women in America, and how that plays out when it comes to politics, whether it comes to economics, and that type of thing. So this Yale University class is going to be taught by a woman named Professor Tasha Hawthorne, who is the Dean of Pearson College at Yale. And I said, well, how serendipitous is this? Because I have been thinking about this and what the election that we just went through means. Now, obviously, it means that Kamala Harris, a black woman very close to winning this election, did not win. And why is it that she did not win when 92% of black women in this country voted for this sister? I believe black men voted for her to the tune of like 87%. Okay, so what happened? So what happened was white women to the tune of 53% decided to vote with their white husbands, spouses, boyfriends, significant others. And then you have Latinos / Hispanics / Chicanos who voted about 32% for 47. So what that leaves me with is feeling some kind of way, and in my feelings about how black women are such a pillar and a foundation for the Democratic Party, I'm to the point now where I think we need to start reevaluating our loyalties. And I don't know if that means forming our own political party. A third party system never has really worked in America, but maybe we need to think about that a little bit. Maybe do we all need to be independent like Bernie Sanders? What is it that we need to do to make America listen to what is important to us? Because we've done everything that we need to do. And Reverend Harris and I have talked about this, how when the suffragettes started in the 1800s, they did not want to see black men, because it was only men voting at that time, get the vote. And in fact, I think it was Elizabeth Staten, or whatever this woman's name is, said she would rather cut off her right arm than to allow black men to vote before white women get the vote. Now, this is a direct quote. So, even then, black women were organizing with white women to try to help them get the vote. So that happened for white women in what, 1920, 1922. Black women did not get the vote until 1964. That's a hell of a long time. So I'm saying all this to say that this election, when black women voted for Kamala Harris, we were voting for ourselves. We were voting for somebody that looked like us, that identified as a black woman, a woman of color. And what happened? America gave us a referendum on black womanhood, and we got spat on. That is what happened. Let's make no mistake about it. I don't want to hear a whole bunch of, oh, well, you know, maybe white women didn't understand. Yeah, they did. And what they did was wrap themselves up in their white privilege, which is another cover for white supremacy. And so we have what we have. Black women, we got some organizing to do. We have got some organizing to do and talking amongst ourselves. And let me just say this as I wrap up my comments about this. I'm kind of with Joy Reid on MSNBC when she's telling white women, oh, you guys want to protest and march and all this about this election? Don't call a sister. We're tired.
So, Aline, if I hear you correctly, you're saying that that white women, let me back up, that white men created or gave the green light, quote unquote, to white women that they or he decided that they could vote in 1922.
That's true.
In 1922, black women and black men couldn't vote.
That's correct.
Fast forwarding that Dr. King was born in 1929, he negotiated with Lyndon Johnson in 1962 or 63 to sign, to give the opportunity for black people to vote.
The Voting Rights Act.
Do I have that correct?
That is correct. Voting Rights Act of 1964.
So all along, white privileged men who created the Constitution without the input of blacks during that time. Somebody find for me on our show, when was the U.S. Constitution was actually adopted in the United States? Because I'm coming up to a point that when that was adopted, white women, black men, and black women had no input.
No input whatsoever. You had to be a white male landowner to vote. Poor white people could not vote. You had to be a landowner in order to vote. So
all this time that these white male chauvinists, because that's what I'm gonna call them, these thugs, these hoodlums,
all right now,
these ratchet white men were the power brokers.
Absolutely.
And they control the Constitution, what it said, what it should say, what it shouldn't say. And these white barbaric men were the ones who were the responsible parties to put Jim Crow in effect.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. And we have to understand that Jim Crow came to fruition after Reconstruction ended. We had, 10, 11 years of Reconstruction after the Civil War. And during that time when black men could vote, you had black elected officials, you had black towns being built, you had it was sort of like a political renaissance in this country for black people. And a betterment for everybody, because most of us know culturally, black people are always about social justice.
Right. Yeah.
So it wasn't anything being taken away from white people, except in their own mind. And you'll note that the KKK came into being during the start of Reconstruction, and then Jim Crow sort of cruised after Reconstruction ended. And we have been fighting this battle of racism in this country ever since. And some people call it de facto racism if it's just not on the books, but everybody understands that. We have to accept the fact in America that racism is woven into all the fabric that holds America together. Whether we talk about it or not, Brother Robert and I were just saying that whether it's spoken or not, people know
it's still here.
It's still here. And so here we are.
So Aline, so behind you there's a yellow timeline.
Right. Right.
These barbaric white men built ships in I can't see that.
1619.
1619. What do it say on the?
It says the first slaves arrived in Jamestown, Virginia.
In 1619. Now the people who were responsible for getting there was white folk.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Europeans. Yeah.
Then the little brother there sitting with a chain on looked like a slave.
Right, he is. Kidnapped Africans brought to New Amsterdam for the first time to work as slaves.
In what year?
1624.
So 1619, they start putting an agenda together.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I need for someone on the live stream to give me the information about when was the U.S. Constitution established in the United States. Somebody please give me that information.
Because it will be right in here, and I believe it was 1776. It might have been ratified in 1777. Yes, because right in here is when you're going to have the American Revolution.
Yes.
You're going to have Crispus Attucks being the first to fall in that war, a black man. And black people have been fighting this uphill battle ever since.
So 1619, this is 2025.
Yeah.
And black people just barely started voting in 1962.
64.
White men allowed white women to vote before the black man
That's right.
and the black woman, but yet the white woman was being treated badly too.
Mm-hmm.
And now with all of that, white women went against the struggle of black women or the black oppression that we face and sided with the same men with the same
ones.
ideology
The
that
same
started in
ones.
1619.
The same ones. This is the establishment of Chicago by Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable, who was who was the founder of Chicago, and everybody knows that Chicago is still known as Chocolate City, that along with Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, Reverend Harris, that white women, they have this choice to make all the time about whether they're going to be our allies or our enemies. And it was the same when you had white women, slaveholders who were married to white men who were slave owners. They benefited from that peculiar institution. And so on down the line, and then you get to the 70s where feminism happens, and you got Gloria Steinem and Bella Abzug and people like this. I never considered myself a feminist, having graduated, going to college in the 70s. I'm like Alice Walker, I'm a womanist, so I'm pro-women. But white women, we're talking about white women and working outside the home and having a choice between a career and a family. Black women have been out there working. Our grandmas and our mamas have been out there working the whole time. So what do we need feminism for, as it was formulated in the minds of these white women? We didn't need it. We always worked alongside of our men and tried to hold our families together.
So now we at a stage right now, and when we look at the timeline from, we have Malcolm on there, we have
Malcolm, we have Malcolm, we have
Marshall
King,
on there.
Thurgood Marshall, and to think that Clarence Thomas has replaced his brother. You got Shirley Chisholm, who ran for Congress in '68. I remember seeing her on TV when I was a kid. I was 10 years old in 1968. And it's just, we need to be trying to reevaluate where we are. I remember Barbara Jordan. I wanted to go to law school because this sister was so tough in those Watergate trials. She matched Sam Rayburn question for question in them interrogating the witnesses on Watergate. And we know how that turned out, that Tricky Dick Nixon broke into, had his people break into the Watergate Hotel, and that he was indeed a crook. So black people have work to do, Brother Robert. We've got work to do.
One of the things that I told Dr. Kennedy today, which I thought was we had a good conversation today. Hopefully she's watching the show. I told her, as long as she's black and Jamaican, don't you ever let nobody tell you to pull yourself up from your bootstraps. This crap that we've been going through since 1619, and you're going to have someone tell you, oh, well, I made it. Well, hell, of course you made it. You're the beneficiary for the destruction of everything that black people have built in this country.
That's right.
So when we hear people say black people built this nation, believe me, we built every fiber of it, right?
Not by choice.
And now, then the white man goes and create policy like he's God.
Like he's God.
Right? See, I wish the Moors never did civilize those white men, teaching them that you don't live in a house with chickens. You don't live in a house with cows. See, the Moors civilized.
Yes, they did.
Is that right?
Yeah, they ended the Dark Ages and brought along the Renaissance period in Europe. The Moors were the people who said, you don't take a bath once a year. You bathe regularly. And that's the way you do it. You separate your animals from your family. The animals need their own living quarters, and you need your own living quarters. The Moors brought in architecture and science and history, and Europeans don't want to talk about that because right now there's Europeans who are wanting to kick Africans out of Europe. This whole thing that's happening with 47 is a wave that's happening across the globe, with totalitarianism, with strong men who want to run everything, And that means people of color got to go. They don't want us. And so we need to be ready. You know, it's like you're always saying, Reverend Harris, you got to stay ready and not have to get ready.
We'd like to welcome everyone to the Black Agenda Network. We're broadcasting here out of West Fresno, the Golden West Side. I need to tell everybody something that I've been, and I believe I told, hopefully I told Aline, I don't think I told you, Robert, but I need for everybody to get your passport. Let me say that again. I need for everybody in your family to get your passport, because 45 Trump is trying to change it. See, this is a pattern, Aline, that I'm seeing with white men. And the reason I say I'm seeing a pattern, because, and I'm going to go back to the passport, but I need to say this, that when the Black Panther Party was here, booming in Oakland, the ratchet pig police was assassinating them.
True.
Not because they did anything wrong. You were there. So, if I'm lying, I'm sure Aline will say, nah, that's not what happened, Reverend Harris.
That's true.
The Black Panther Party was college students.
Yes, they were.
Very educated. So educated that Malcolm said the worst thing that the white man could have did was let me read his history books.
Oh.
Now, the Black Panther, now, if the Constitution was created somewhere up there in 1769, somewhere up there, and white men created policy and laws, and black, and remember it said it was illegal for black folks to read a book?
That's right.
So they didn't even want us to read.
They didn't want us to read.
Now, I got to give credit to some of those white folk who took time out to teach black folks how to read. So you can't put all white folk in the same barrel and say they were all racist, because they all wasn't. And I know that because I read literature. Now, Reagan turns around because the Black Panther Party said, well, hell, if you got it right and have the right to bear arms, then that's what we're going to do. Then he flipped the script. Then he went back into California legislation and changed the law to say, oh, you can't carry a gun now open like that. You got to go through our process now.
That's right. He did. He did. And a lot of people forget, and I never want y'all to forget, that the entire name of the Black Panther Party is the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense.
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 Now, the reason I brought that up is because 45 is going to get into a lot of legislation. He's going to start changing stuff. And one of the things he's targeting is passports. Okay? Get your passport.
While you can.
While you can.
For you and your children. Here's the other thing I'm going to tell you. Get you a credit card that has the however much money you can get on it.
The max.
Don't use it. Save it. Get you a suitcase. Pack your clothes in it.
This is real.
Because if we got to get out of here, as Aline said, you can't be get ready. You got to be ready. Now, my case in point. Look what just happened in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
Nobody knew that the fires was going to take place in wintertime.
Yeah.
This is not summertime. This is wintertime. We would expect that in summertime.
That's right.
But this is wintertime, and we got fires in the winter just like we got in the summer.
Yes.
Now, a lot of those people was caught off guard.
Yeah, they were.
They still caught off guard.
Yes.
A lot of them are displaced.
Yes.
Insurance rates go good. A lot of them go have to move because they can be able to afford the insurance to live up there now.
Nope.
So just think that if they had to evacuate, get on the plane, get out of there, grab the little bit that they have, and you ain't got no credit card, you ain't got no suitcase. Listen, I'm telling y'all right now, man. If you ain't ever thought about getting dual citizenship, you better think about it now. Because these people this enemy is not playing with us. They're coming to kill, steal, and destroy. Now you can play with, I don't play with evil. I don't play with evil. And that's what we're playing with right now.
And this is evil. That's right. And this is serious. This is not a drill. This is serious. So when you see African countries saying come home, whether it be Ghana or Benin or Zambia, think about going home, because think about this, and this is something that, I write about in my fiction. What if every black person in America did pick up and go home? What would happen to the American economy? Because black people spend a lot of money every year in this country. Some of the stuff we need, some of it we don't need. But we are spending billions in a country that hates us.
Don't want to share.
Don't want to share. We need to be thinking about that. Because they are dismantling diversity, equity, and inclusion programs all across the country. Right now, 26 states have shut down their DEI offices. And that includes Kentucky, Alabama, Texas, Florida, Iowa, and the list goes on and on. So what they're saying is that we're rolling back all of this, and this includes colleges. This includes colleges that they are going to be scrutinizing our students even more. And what affirmative action and DEI used to be, all of that is disappearing. All of that.
I want to say, Aline, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about, and then we're going to go to Robert.
Yes.
Because Robert is from Fresno. Robert, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us, our listening audience that's watching all over the world, who are you, how long you been here, what have you seen growing up, since you've grown up, what have you seen been taken away? Do you feel that this historical black community is the same, similar, or has it been hijacked?
First of all, my name is Robert Wilson, and some of y'all might know me as Robert Ransom. Yeah, I was born in Los Angeles. I was raised here in Fresno at a young age, and I've been here 54 years in Fresno, in Clovis, and all the community. And I don't see a lot in Fresno, California, per se. I lived in the country when North and Fig, or North and Martin Luther King, they changed the name. And out there, when I went to school at Washington Union, we didn't have, as a teenager, we didn't have a bus system out there. But when they changed the name, the bus, and the people, I think we need more in Fresno, because we don't have, in Fresno, California, we don't have no big stores per se. They'll put liquor stores.
That's true.
And they need to put more. And it's land out there. They want to take your land out, I would think, because we have a lot of land out here. We need to plant and grow our own food. And we need more black leaders out here. And that's all over. That's just Fresno. We need more.
Agreed.
And we need to work together, not against each other. Because when you work against each other, they want that. They want to take your freedom back. They want us to go back to slavery. And some of the young people is not having that. We gonna work too hard. Like he said, like Dr. Harris said, and Aline said, we built this country, and we should have rights. But it's how we get our rights. They change laws. They keep on trying to put us back in a box. And They don't want us here, but like she said, if we go back and leave this country will be doomed. They don't even want the Latinos here. Anybody they don't want us here. Trust me. And I was, like I said, I was born in 1968 when King was killed, and he had a dream, and I'm still waiting to see this dream in my lifetime. And it's hard out here. It's very hard. Yes. And they want to take all these programs from us. And the worst thing they can do, they give us books to read, and then read a strong black man or black woman or queen or king to read. You'll be a better person, stronger person. Stronger. Yes. But thank you, sir, for letting me speak.
So Robert, the other day, we sent each other information over Facebook Messenger, and like 4 or 5 days prior to that, you were trying to remember a town that you had said that blacks had to be out before sundown. Now, I want to let everybody know that the San Joaquin Valley is the hub quarters of the Ku Klux Klan. That's documented in the law firm. I'm trying to think of that law firm, Aline.
Southern Poverty Law Center.
Southern Poverty Law Center. Because on this show, we never want you to believe me. I don't want you to believe Aline or Robert. I want you to go do your own research. Okay?
Yes.
And the San Joaquin Valley, from the Grapevine, Bakersfield, which is 2 hours going south, and up in the mountains in Madera County, is the hub. Matter of fact, by saying it was the headquarters, probably still is for the Ku Klux Klan.
This is
true.
Okay.
Now, Robert was telling me about a city that was near Bakersfield. What city was that, Robert?
The town is called Taft, out of in Bakersfield, and it used to have a sign that said, "Get out of town before the sun go down." I was telling this young man, Mr. Harris, and he looked it up, and he sent me a text, and then I looked up. It's a lot of towns like that.
Oh yeah.
And I was formerly living in Kerman, and they had that on the top 10 list. I didn't know that at the time, but I have, I lived in Fresno, like I said, for 54 years, 56 years, and I don't seen a lot of racial, a lot of things go on in this town, and it's not that, what I'm gonna say is,
You had told me about, you had went to a bar.
in Kerman.
In Kerman.
Yes.
What happened when you went into that bar?
Well, me and my colleagues, friends of mine, we went for a birthday party when I got out there, and when we walked into the bar, these white men sitting at the bar said, "What you let anybody in there? You let Mexicans and niggas in there?" And that's the N-word, but that's what they said. Me and my partner and I said, "What did you say?" And the bartender said, "Don't worry about me, he's just drunk." I said, "No, but you don't dress me. I don't dress us like that." Me and my colleagues, and then and the other gentleman, came there for us. He called his son, and we could have got real ugly in the town, but we knew better, and what we did is we just left. Because, like I said, I lived out there when I first moved there, and I just chopped it up as it's racism everywhere. It goes on still to this day, and I just don't. It makes my skin crawl. And the same gentleman that I rented a room from him. We worked in Chachilla, that's Madera. And we was working out there. I was painting, and he was out there painting and stuff out there. And the police come drawing guns on us. What are we doing out here? Your kind ain't supposed to be out here. I said, your kind, look, they had guns on it. They were to shoot us. I had a paintbrush or a rolling paint gun. We was out there painting, and that was very disturbing. I would get killed. My mom would have lost a son because I'm out there working. They didn't think we should be out there working out there. They only want their own people in their own town. They feel uncomfortable when they see color. We bring too much rhythm. We make things happen. They want to take everything from us. So this is facts.
This is facts.
Yeah, cornrows, I rap, I swag, and then the next thing they want us to do is get out the way, stay in the background, separate, fight, shoot, or hurt each other. And we are our worst enemy. The white man loves chaos. This is true.
This is true.
Look at and what's so crazy about it? A black man can't, if he got a felony, he can't. They won't allow you to
Most
you can't. You might want to get a passport. That way, like this man said, you better go get your passport. Because if you want to leave, at least you had an option to leave. Our president, he has a felony. They let him become president. And I just want to know if any person besides a white man had a felony, would they allow him to be the president?
That's an excellent question.
I mean, ponder on that. I mean, that's facts, but
This brother is right about Chowchilla. I had it happen to me. I worked for Head Start in Chowchilla and Fairmead, and it just so happened I was having lunch with a Latina and her parents, her older parents. They were in their like 70s back then, and we was explaining our job was to like go door to door, and they looked at me and said, you need to be careful, Aline, because it's a lot of, be careful. It's a lot of racism here. These are Latinos telling me this, so I know it's true. And Sundown Towns, Ceres, California,
look it up.
off of 132, also a sundown town, including Clovis. All you got to do is look it up. Yeah, read. Oh my goodness. Reverend Dr. Harris said that the San Joaquin Valley is full of sundown towns. They're talking about us, y'all. Us, black people.
Lynching, hanging, taking out women, and they still do. This still goes on.
Let us not be, amiss in understanding what. Listen, I don't even like going to Clovis after dark. Never have. Never have. So I'm just saying, we have to be ready. And I'm somebody who kept putting off getting a passport. Oh, I'm going to get my passport. Best believe I'm going to get it. And I'm going to have my bag packed. Because, when you get older, you can't make those fast moves like you did when you were 25 and 30. So I want to be ready. I want to take Dr. Harris's advice.
Well, we'd like to welcome you to the Black Agenda Network here in Fresno, California. We're here with our co-host Aline Reed and also our special guest, Robert Wilson today, who is sharing information in regards to the oppression and depression and white supremacy and all that stuff that he has endured, he has seen right here where he lives at. He's a taxpayer, and he has to endure this type of treatment. And all the freedom fighters who came before me, who came before Aline, who came before Robert, this is the same stuff that they were fighting. Stokely Carmichael.
Yes.
Megan Everett, getting people registered to vote in Mississippi.
That's right.
Who was murdered on the other side of the door with his 3 little girls on one side, and he's on the other side, and the Klan came up behind him and blew his brains out right on his doorstep. There's been many people who have sacrificed and died and got murdered for you today. Not for you to sit in isolation, but for you to get up, stand up, and fight back and do something instead of having a Coke and a smile in a recliner watching football games and soap operas all day. It's time for you to stand up, family. Now is the time. Recess is over with, okay? Recess is over with. Hear me. The bell has rung right now, okay? We are in trouble as a people from the West Coast to the East Coast, all the way down to Florida. This whole United States is in trouble. Now 45 is talking about he want to take Canada. He want to take the entire continent of Canada and make them be with, listen to the word, make them be with United. What if they don't want to be with United States? You just can't keep going around being a bully like you've been doing for many, many years. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So now the Prime Minister of Canada says, you know what, I'm not dealing with this, I resign. So now Canada is sitting over there with no Prime Minister right now.
And it's true. 45 also wanted to take Greenland, and the Dutch said, "Oh, I don't think so." They said, "I don't think so. You're not getting Greenland."
Also, our president want to change the Gulf of Mexico to he don't want the Mexico. He wanted to call it what is it, Gulf of America.
Oh my
He
goodness.
wanted to take the Latinos out of the equation. And that's on the news. Check it out. It's on the news. And you can look it up.
You're the second person I heard say that, but I missed the first notice. But I appreciate you.
But he's not gonna let them. The Latinos are gonna let him change. The lady, I guess, of
The new president,
Claudia
Sheinbaum.
That's it. She was talking. She said, "Look at this. We're not gonna let that happen." And it was on the news yesterday.
Wow.
But check it out.
So, one of our dear brothers, one of my leaders that I respect here, Mr. Comier, he was saying that research shows that whites in rural America all are the same, no matter in Alabama, California, or Mississippi. Now we're going to talk about what I want to talk about.
Okay.
We have listened to these beautiful people here. Share this link with other folks. You know, we're just trying to get the word out. Again, I do not want you to believe me. I do not want you to believe nobody at this table here. But I want you to go do your own research to see if what we're saying is the truth. Now, homework for today is I want you to go and research who the Moors are. Go research who the Moors are. And next week when we come back on, I want some of y'all to type in or you can inbox me whatever. See who the Moors were. See what did they have to contribute to the civilization of this continent. Find that out. That's very, very, very important. Now, the shirt that I have on right now says never forget. Never forget what?
Where you come from?
Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921 was destroyed by the Ku Klux Klan and the U.S. government here. Now, people always want to talk about 9/11 that happened in New York. 9/11 is not the first terrorist attack on U.S. soil. 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma was the first terrorist attack on U.S. soil by its own people, okay? By its own government. So the history books that they put in place lie to our children and talk about that 9/11 that happened, the World Trade, that they call the World Trade Center, was the first terrorist attack. When you do the research on Tulsa, Oklahoma, you will find out that blacks built Tulsa, Oklahoma with blood, sweat, and tears, okay? They didn't have no laptop, they didn't have no Instagram, they didn't have no Facebook, they didn't have no laptop like this thing sitting in front of me right here. They didn't have no social media. All they had was themselves, God, and unity. And here we sit today with all this technology that's sitting in front of me with Facebook, Instagram, the Tweetbird, whatever it's called, Gmail, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. And you mean to tell me that we cannot build a community? I ain't talking about neighborhoods. I'm talking about communities. Because see, there's a difference between community and a neighborhood. See, white folks want us to live in neighborhoods. They don't want us to build communities like Tulsa, Oklahoma, over 40-something black towns was built in this place after slavery. And what happened to all of them? All of them was burnt down. But don't forget this, if they wasn't burnt down, they were flooded out. And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight on my turn, because it's important that you understand. If anybody ever tell you, I don't care if they black, white, brown, big bird, Barney, purple, I don't care who they, if someone ever tell you to pull yourself up from your bootstrap, let me tell you, they better stay far away from me, because I will tell them something to their teeth. You don't tell me that we will sit here in 1619 enslaved ships, and we have been through all this barbaric treatment.
Come on.
Horrific treatment of Jim Crow, black codes, burning up towns. Listen. And that's at this point. Bull Corner right here, that's why I made this better. Bull Corner, you see the firemen shooting down black people with water. Bull Corner in Alabama, the police chief told them to do that. We have endured that. Aline, you a historian. How many other races of people been shot down by water holes?
Nobody has been through what African Americans have been through. Nobody on the African continent. And I'm talking about from the Middle Passage to being brought here, to slavery, to black codes, Jim Crow, economic segregation,
Yes.
legal segregation, and then de facto segregation. Nobody has been through what black people in America have been through, African Americans. And let it be known that Adolf Hitler, and this is a true fact, Adolf Hitler and the Nazis studied Southern culture to understand black segregation and how they did it, because they were so successful. So they studied the Southern way of life. The Nazis did, as did the South Africans. Same thing. So we need to be ready. Nobody has experienced what black people in America. And hey, as much as I respect and care about Barack Obama, Brother Obama was not a descendant of slaves. His parent came from Kenya. He had a black Kenyan father and a white mother. He was not, now Michelle, that's a direct descendant of slaves right there.
She know the struggle. She know the struggle.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she made him a better man.
Yes, she did.
That's right.
And he didn't want anybody else. 8 years, no chaos, no felonies, no investigations. But we are now feeling the backlash of Barack Obama's tenure in the White House. They hate us so much, we're still paying for that. And that is where 45, soon to be 47, enters the picture. Because they never want that to happen again. That's why Kamala Harris could not make that leap from vice president to president. It wasn't just that, oh, she started late, or Biden should have gotten out of the race early. Yeah, those are contributing factors. The fact of the matter is that this is a former prosecutor who knows the law,
yes,
forward and back,
sure,
was a senator from California,
that's right.
and they did not want this sister.
We need more of them like that.
We need more. We need more.
It's one they call Jasmine Crockett.
Oh,
you need to look her up.
From Texas.
She's the real deal. Remember her name? Her name is Jasmine Crockett. Look her up. She don't play, and she's in the law. She's a lawyer, and she's coming soon. Now we need more, and we're gonna need more strong black leaders.
Yes.
So let's talk about communities for a second.
Right.
Communities, from my perspective, is something that, or a place that has resources for their people. I believe that those was responsible for building Black Wall Street that was destroyed in 1921. They had unity, they had love for one another, peace with each other. And don't forget that the railroad track always, in every city, divided the white side and the black side.
That's right.
Okay, and don't forget that the police always patrolled our community, but we couldn't patrol their community.
That's right.
All right. Don't forget that black people and black women were craftsmen. They had expertise in certain things. So that's why it was so easy to build a community like Black Wall Street and the other communities that was built by our ancestors after slavery. And so when you take a people who are humble and doing their own thing on their side of the track, and here come these varmints coming over, these snakes and pythons and coming over to destroy. And one of the things, Aline, in my research, I noticed, when the thugs come to riot and to lynch, they always use this one slogan: a white woman was raped.
Yes.
When I do research, it seems that's the number one thing that's always said to start a riot or to start the destruction of black community. And so when this happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the black dollar circulated 10 to 15, 20 times before it left the community. That meant we were doing business with one another. All right, now understand, the pythons over here looking across the track saying, man, their community look better than ours over there. Look at how their churches look. Look at all that brick. That's why in the South, if you ever go to Mississippi, Alabama, or those who are watching live stream, you know I'm telling the truth. Many houses are built out of brick.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
They're not built like California was stucco.
No.
They built from brick. And I mean, them bricks are straight. I mean, it looks beautiful. And so what happened was, now they want to come over and destroy Black Wall Street like they did.
Yes.
A community that wasn't bothering nobody. Matter of fact, if you want to know the truth, none of our communities was a threat to anyone else's community. They were just jealous because our community looked better than ours, and that they wanted to continue this 1619 slave stuff.
That's right.
But our people in Tulsa, they started fighting back.
Yeah.
They started fighting back. The police deputized the children that was 5 and 6 years old to shoot blacks on sight. They were looting the houses of our ancestors.
Wow.
See, Black Wall Street was supposed to have been passed down
Generational
to 3 of
wealth.
us here.
That's right.
Huh?
Generational wealth.
Yes, that's
It
right.
was supposed to have been passed down, but it was what? Destroyed. And then when our people started fighting back, they said, man, we losing now. They went and got planes and started dropping BOMBs on top of the churches in the community and destroyed 36 blocks of an economic, not just a community, but an economic community that was generating money
Yes.
for themselves.
Look it up.
Yes.
Check it.
Grocery stores. We're talking about a community.
Movie theaters.
I ain't talking about no neighborhood. I'm talking about a community now, right? A community now. Grocery stores, movie theaters, doctor's offices, banks, railroad lines, all this stuff.
Insurance
Taxi
companies,
cab.
all of that.
That was us.
And it's still us. We can do it again.
We can. We got the
We gotta
blueprint.
work together. That's the key. And make another community.
Now,
Make it strong.
and closing, I want to read this to everybody because I feel that it's important. At least it's important to me, and it gives me a lot of motivation to keep my ancestors, those that were shot, those that were murdered, those that were lynched. I want to do this before we go off the show. I talked to Dr. Kennedy this morning, and she's in Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, Dr. Kennedy, have you heard of a city called Oscarville, Georgia? She said, no, I haven't. So this is what I read to her. I said, Lake Lanier is a popular weekend destination known for fishing, boating, and so much more, including a reputation that has deemed it as hunted in Georgia. But one lesser known fact is that the lake sits on top of a black town called Oscarville. A lake. Militant lake. Y'all know here, a lake with water in it is on top of a black community. Okay? Oscarville was burnt down in 1912. Now we're going back to the timeline, Aline, because you said that black folk didn't have the right to vote until 1962. We're in 1912.
Right.
Okay? 1912.
Right.
And more than 1,000 residents were forced to flee following the allegations of rape. So we back to that word again. Every time a black community is destroyed or they want to be looted, white men always say a black male raped a white woman.
Right.
Now, y'all think I'm lying, go read somewhere. All right. Robert Edwards was arrested in September 1912 along with Ernest Knox and Oscar Daniel, both teenagers, all accused of raping and murdering a young white woman named Crow. I'm just going to call her Crow. That's a lie. May Crow.
I can't.
That right there is Emmett Till at the top.
Yeah, they said
The same thing was said about Emmett Till that, what did they say? He looked at a white woman. He whistled at a white woman. Same concept of Emmett Till. Look what happened to Emmett Till.
Yeah. And he was just a boy. I mean, a young boy, 14 or 15 years old.
And they barely got one of the guys who was still living. They took all this time.
All this time.
To prosecute, to look it up. All this time. What it got to do with us, they about to slow, dragging justice. It's just us. We need us.
Right.
We need us.
Edwards was dragged out of jail, beaten with a crowbar. And then lynched from a telephone pole. A little kid. Daniel and Knox went to trial and were found guilty on the same day.
The same day.
I wonder who was their peers. Who was the jury?
All white.
I'll let y'all think about that.
All white men. Yes.
The boys were sentenced to death by hanging. All right. After the trial and execution, white men known as the Night Riders, remember the Proud Boys, the Night Riders, forced black families out of their homes by bringing their land, churches, and schools. Just ran them out.
Wow.
Once black families fled, Lake Lanier was built on top of what was burned down.
That's how I feel about
And
it.
people wonder why black folks in
They're still
America are angry and looking for reparations.
That's what I'm saying, reparations. You said it right. The sister said it right. They say gonna give it to us. We never got it. We worked hard. We still working hard.
That's right.
That's right, yeah. And you ask them about slavery, they said let that go. I can't let that go. I'll let that go
Never.
when y'all become slaves and y'all work with and build me a castle. Not at the White House. It shouldn't be called. Why is it called White House? What we built that. Slaves built the White House. Trust that.
White House.
It was the white men that
building.
built that White House. And I don't understand that. Why somebody explain that to me?
In a black community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's it. It's a black community. It's still a black community. That's DC. If you go to DC, you will see 90% us.
That's it. Chocolate City.
Still now.
DC, Chicago, chocolate cities. Yes.
I want to read this last one and we're going to end our show. We're just giving you this to show you that
Information.
we don't come from lazy black folk.
No.
Our ancestors never been lazy.
We couldn't take a day off.
That's the media. We work from sun up to sundown. How the hell are you going to be lazy doing that?
From Kansas.
Now,
How you going to be lazy doing that?
You can't be
I know who the lazy one was sitting on the goddamn horse and sitting up in Massillon. Those were the lazy ones. Now, this is Vanport, Oregon. In the 1940s, Vanport was the center of a booming shipyard, industrial, because of World War II, and quickly became the second largest city in the state. But as World War II saw white males drafted to serve overseas, a labor shortage pulled in a great migration of black from the South, with the soldiers being drafted overseas to fight in the war. Oregon saw a labor shortage. This resulted in a great migration of black Americans from the South. These new workers needed a place to live, as the neighborhood was the only place where black people could live legally. It became too small for the growing population of black Americans, and Vanport was built as a temporary housing solution. At its peak, 40,000 residents, or 40% were African American.
Wow.
But then in 1948, massive flooding erupted in the neighborhood, and the city officials did not warn residents of the dangerous high water levels. Many did not evacuate in time. The town was wiped out within a day. 8,500 families were displaced, more than a third black Americans. Today, that area is known as Delta Park.
Wow.
So my point is, family, two things. Number one, go research. Number two, it seems to me that when black communities were always seized and attacked, it was always a white woman being used as the reasoning to go in and destroy a black town. Three, then the state turns around and turns into a park. Look at what happened in Allensworth. State park.
Yes.
State park. So now they control the land.
Yeah.
See, the land is something that's so important, right? So now it's a Delta Park.
You can't make this stuff up.
But you can't look it up.
You can't look it up.
Or
You can't
Google
make
it.
it up.
Look it up.
This is true, but this is happening in
Facts.
real time, people.
Oh,
This is happening in real time.
It's still
Allensworth and the gentrification of Southwest Fresno or West Fresno, the renaming of California, Ventura, and Kings Canyon to Cesar Chavez Boulevard, and I still say Cesar wouldn't even want this in his name if he was still alive. These are things that are happening in real time.
And maybe, Aline, as you brought up the Cesar Chavez situation here in our community, maybe we should have a show on that and invite some of the people who supported that concept of coming into our community, changing the name, and give people an honest space. I mean, we don't attack people. I mean, we have our own belief system, and everyone has that, but I think since that was because lawsuits was filed and all kinds
And
of
they're
stuff.
still going on.
What was going on, and I think that maybe we should invite those ones,
They're welcome to come.
that
They're
we
always
work
welcome
with,
to come.
and go with that. So I just want to say this as we get ready to close this, and people, thank you for tuning in to the Black Agenda Network. There's some folk, Newhouse wrote a statement. I read, Mr. Cormier research shows that whites and rural Americans all are the same, no matter Alabama, California, Mississippi. Again, he said research. He didn't say him. He said research. So understand, when you're debating with someone, take it out the personal tip and say, this is what my research shows.
That's right. That's
Okay?
right.
It takes it out of the personality and say, let's deal with the research. Okay, and then Newsom House said, hello everyone, that's right. We can do it again, but we have to start working with each other.
We have to.
Not against each other,
That's right.
as well as working on self-accountability and healing of past trauma.
Where we need to do a show, I have to interject, we need to do a show about not just community, but whether or not black people can build community if they're not forced by segregation or de facto segregation to work with one another.
That's right.
Because Black Wall Street was built by professionals, doctors and lawyers, as well as mail carriers and seamstresses and cooks, all live next door to each other.
Yes, right.
Can we do that again?
Right.
That's the
I
question.
think we can.
I think so.
I think we have to.
Right.
Well, folks, there you have it. Once again, another hot show here on the West Coast. We just want to acknowledge those in Los Angeles that may be
They have
burned
prayers.
out.
That's right.
We need to pray. I mean, I've been checking on my family. Folks been checking friends and what have you.
Yes.
It's important that we, even though they're 4 or 5 hours from us, they're still our family. You know, we don't. Again, black people live in peace, right? We've always lived in peace, right? We didn't start all this stuff until we started dealing with Europeans and all that type of stuff, lifestyle, killing all the animals,
Come on.
all that stuff. So let's get back to living in peace, you know. But we're gonna call a spade a spade. Trust me, you know. We ain't gonna sugarcoat it. We're respectful, you know. We're humble people. But again, you know, you run up, you better run up right. Because they're not running back. And, you know, I'm not going to sit up there and tell you that I'm non-violent and all that. Because if you do something to me or my family, I'm going to deal with you. I don't care who you are. And I think anybody should think like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
they talk about King was non-violent. But let me say this about King and Malcolm. That King ain't shot nobody. Malcolm ain't shot nobody.
That's right.
But both of them got a bullet and got assassinated. That's what they got in common.
That's correct.
Okay, by this U.S. government. So think about that. January 19th is the MLK
Revolutionary MLK event.
Revolutionary MLK
Right here.
event here. There will be a march starting here at 12:30. We got some heavyweight speakers on the panel. Next year, we're going to include our young people more engaged in the panel discussion. And then we're going to march in this community. As James Brown said, I'm black and I'm proud.
That's right.
You know, and King marched for a purpose. He didn't march like they do this crap downtown, just handing out awards and from year to year and whitewashing and all that. No, King marched for a purpose. He marched for change. He didn't march for exercise. I can go to jail. I can go to Planet Fitness and get a workout there. But when we march in the streets here on January 19th, you're going to hear us all over the nation. Because it's important that you understand that we love you, you love us. We need to support you. We need to connect the dots. If you need help, you need to come on our radio show. Look us up. Look up Aline Reed on Facebook.
Yes.
Look up Floyd Harris on Facebook so that we can be able. Okay, Aline, just got some more information.
All right.
So Jamila X, that's X. Great show tonight. Thanks for being there. Marcus Winston, the fire in LA was done by local government officials.
Now you hear that?
Surprise them.
Look it up.
Surprise them.
I didn't say that. That's what Marcus Winston says. So
Look it up.
Another investigation report we need to look into. And I'm going to say this, and I keep trying to say it. But here's the government piece. The government will always start stuff just to make money.
Yeah, that's like insurance go high.
That's right.
Then you gotta find a place.
So they
That's how you get your passport. Get your passport.
Just to make money.
And then they're gonna rebuild and charge triple.
That's right.
I told Ashley that.
This is
look,
true.
The military got some stuff that will hit the ground and knock it down a mile. The only thing that's holding the coastline from the Pacific past the Robles is dirt. If you knock that dirt down, all that water from the Pacific will flood out this whole valley.
That's
Then
right.
it's a terrorist attack.
It's a big Super Bowl we live in, y'all, so don't be surprised if we be broadcasting from a
Y'all
dinghy.
dealing with some real enemies, man. Anyway, we're going to say goodnight to you. We want to thank our guest, Brother Robert, here for coming in. Thank you for coming with this information. You're going to come on our show. Hey, look what's up. You know what I'm saying? We ain't scared. We ain't scared to dialogue. And Aline, what do you always say?
I always say, stay black till we get back with you.
All right.
Stay black.
Power to the people.
Nice show.
Good show.
Good show.
Good show.
Yeah. I like to invite the young kids in.
Yes.
And see how they think. And then ask them, give us some ideas how we can go make it go forward.
Yes. 'Cause they